Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining our diagnostic training session today. Now, what you're about to see is a pre-recorded training session we did over in the United States. But be assured that a lot of the material that we cover is really applicable to any automotive application. So just be aware that yes, it is a lot of North American vehicles, but a lot of the same principles apply over in the UK as well. Now, if you have any questions, if you're watching this during the premiere, you can just leave it in the chat. We'll be monitoring that. And if you're watching this after the premiere, then just feel free to leave a comment underneath the video, and we'll get to those as we can as well. So my name is Jason Gabrenas. I'm one of Snap-on Diagnostics technical trainers. I've been in the training department since 2013, traveling around North America, helping techs and shop owners get the most out of their diagnostic equipment. Before I did that, it was a couple years as a diagnostic sales rep at Snap-on, so I had a group of about 30 different franchisees I worked with, as well as the shops that they service, in order to help everyone get the most out of their diagnostic needs. Then before I did that, it was 8 years at Subaru, so I worked in a dealership, and over time, I guess, I just became that default diag guy in the shop. So I always ended up having the drivability problems, the intermittent problems, the weird wiring problems that would show up on those cars. And that's really where I cut my diagnostic teeth, was trying to figure out all those weird head scratcher type cars that had come into my bay. Then before that, a bunch of other miscellaneous wrenching jobs. Been a little over 25 years under hood experience for me. So our topic today is we are starting off on our OEM-specific ADAS training series we're doing this year. So last year, if you were watching, we did OEM-specific training, just kind of a generalized, specific to a manufacturer. And this year, we're going to drill down that little bit deeper, and we're going to do specific ADAS functionality for each of these individual manufacturers. And as I said, tonight we're starting with Ford. So Ford, much like pretty much any other manufacturer out there in this day and age, they use multiple sensors on the vehicles to provide multiple functions. A lot of the goal is to make the vehicle safer to drive, right? It takes the driver a little bit more out of the equation, so we don't have to worry about panic stops and things like that, and keeping in the lanes, and don't need to worry about drifting out so much. But the main sensors they use are the same main sensors that pretty much any other manufacturer would use: radars, cameras, and ultrasonic sensors. Now, they use the radar for adaptive cruise control, also blind spot monitoring, front and rear, and then front and rear cross traffic alert as well. For the cameras, they use it for the front view, so that'd be the high mounted one in the windshield. 360 view, which would be your surround view when you're trying to park. And then trailer assist. You may have seen it in commercials before. The pickup trucks, they back up and they have a camera looking at the ball hitch, and then it's backing up towards the trailer hitch itself, and it allows you, helps guide you into the right spot to hook up the trailer. And then they use ultrasonic sensors for park assist, much like everybody else. And they do have a couple unique uses for those ultrasonic sensors. They have an advanced park assist we'll talk more about in a little bit. Now, not a lot of off the wall things that Ford does when it comes to their ADAS anyways. This is what I'm trying to showcase this among the manufacturers. One thing that I thought was interesting, though, is on the pickup trucks. They have a taillight integrated blind spot monitor radar. So they have a radar, and it's part of, or at least it bolts to the rear taillight. So if you're going to buy a taillight for one of these trucks, I was pricing out a couple of them earlier, and they're about $1,000 a piece, depending on which one you get. And also, to set it up, if you put in a brand new radar module, you need to do what they call PMI, which is a programmable module installation, which is where you copy the information off of one module and you basically paste it into the new module. Other than that, though, as we'll see, not a lot required to get that radar going. And the other thing that was kind of unique about Ford and how they do their ADAS is they have this two massive mats that they use to set up their 360 camera to calibrate the cameras all around. So this is a couple Snap-on reps setting those up in a bay. You can see you need a fair amount of room there, and you got to set it a certain spacing from the wheels and certain spacing apart and all that, just to get the camera to calibrate. So kind of interesting. Don't see that too much in the industry. It's a few, but not a lot like that. Not as massive as that. So in order to walk through these different ADAS functions, we're going to walk through some featured vehicles. And as luck would have it, we're going to take the same featured vehicles we took from when we did the overview of the OEM and drill down into those, because it's a pretty good example of their top sellers. So first one's a 2018 F-150. So that uses 3 radars. So it has one in front for adaptive cruise control, 2 in the back for blind spot monitor and rear cross traffic alert if equipped. Has 5 cameras. It has a front view camera, 360 view camera, and the trailer assist camera, which also, I guess, duplicates the rear camera, right? So we have 4 around for the 360 view. The front view would be the high mounted one in the windshield. And then the trailer assist just uses the one on the gate. And there are 6 ultrasonic sensors for park assist in there. So for the front camera and the radar, you see the radar unit is down here in the bumper. It's kind of more out closer to the driver's side inside of the fog light assembly. So it's right in there. It's a little access panel to get to that. And then the camera mounts up to the top, kind of near the rear view mirror where most cameras are in most vehicles for that. Now, in order to calibrate the radar, we need to do a couple things. First off, we need to make sure it is level or square up and down. So you're going to take the combination square and put it against it and make sure the bubble is level. You're going to adjust the pitch to do so. So there's an E15 Torx that allows you to adjust the screw up and down till it is flat. Once that's done, we can go in. It's actually under what we call the cruise control module. There's no separate front radar module. It's actually just part of the cruise control module. So you go in there, and there's a cruise control radar alignment function. It's also that programmable module installation we talked about earlier. And it says adaptive cruise control sensor alignment. The vehicle must now be driven on a public road to allow the calibration values to be learned. To complete the procedure, it will be necessary to perform a drive cycle at speeds of up to 50 kilometers an hour for 15 minutes. Drive the vehicle until the procedure is complete. This will take, once again, approximately 15 minutes. The test may be aborted at any time by pressing the cancel button or turning off the ignition. For vehicles fitted with the start-stop system, you need to make sure that is disabled as well. Start the engine before proceeding. Do not at any time during the drive cycle place the scan tool in the deployment path of any airbag. So they're just coming right out and saying it there. Do not put a scan tool on your steering wheel and go and drive the car. That's a really dangerous thing that may happen. It's a really dangerous decision to make, put it that way. Because if that airbag does go off, if something happens, that's scan tool to the face. Not going to be so good. So we want to make sure that we don't do that. Now, another thing kind of unique to Ford anyways, is they have 2 different image processing modules. One is called A and one is called B. And the A module is basically the camera that's up in the windshield. So that's for the lane assist. And then an image processing module B, that's for the surround view camera. So in this case, it also does have a 360-degree view camera alignment. It works in 2 different ways in both these different modules. We have the lane departure warning system camera alignment. So that'd be the camera up in the windshield alignment, pro trailer backup assist camera alignment, and then lane departure warning system help, which is going to be this screen. So carry out this procedure if any of the following service procedures have been performed. The rear view mirror has been removed or replaced, or removed or replaced. So removed. So if I even take it down for any reason, we need to do this. Or if the windshield has been removed or replaced. To complete this service function, please make sure the following conditions are met. Now, if you were here last week and we talked about how important it is to make sure we meet all the criteria the manufacturer wants, the battery voltage between 12 and 15 volts, we talked about using a battery maintainer for that. On-demand self-test is not executed during the procedure, and a programmable module installation was performed if the image processing module A was replaced. This procedure will require the vehicle to be driven for approximately 10 minutes to align the camera. When the vehicle is in alignment mode, do not turn the ignition key to the off position. If the ignition key is switched to the off position prior to completing the drive cycle, please exit the menu and rerun the function. Drive the vehicle on a road with visible lane markers. Drive in a steady manner over 64 kilometers per hour or 40 miles per hour, avoiding lane crossing, excessive steering angle changes, or sudden changes in vehicle speed. Pardon me. To confirm alignment completion on a previously aligned camera, turn on the lane departure warning switch and monitor the lane lines displayed on the instrument cluster while driving. The lane lines displayed will change from gray to green when alignment is complete. If the lane lines displayed does not appear in the instrument cluster, use the confirmation method outlined in the next step for a new service part instead. And turn the lane departure warning switch approximately every 1 minute while driving. When the system turns on and the lane lines appeared in the instrument cluster, the alignment is complete. So new versus one that's already been in there, and you calibrate. Okay, and then when you actually put it in that mode, it's going to give you 2 of the paragraphs that we saw on the previous screen. So don't turn the ignition key off, etc. And here's how to confirm it. So we hit continue once it is done. So we leave it on the screen, let it run the thing. When the lines come up, hit continue and you're done. Next is the rear radar. And as we can see, those are the ones that we talked about where they're in the taillight assemblies. And then also the mirrors come into play because that's where the blind spot warning light would be, and a couple modules, of course. So we have our 2 radar modules on the corners. Looks something like that. There's a little bracket that's going to mount to the rear of the taillight. And then the taillight would mount to the vehicle. Now, we really don't need to do much in order for this to calibrate. To install is the reverse of the removal. So all I'm doing is just bolting it back up. I don't have to do any sort of recalibration with the radar on these. I guess they're assuming if the headlight fits, then the radar is going to be aimed properly. Not really sure. But the only time you need to do anything is if you put a new component in. So if the old one was damaged, something like that. Using a diagnostic scan tool, complete the PMI process for the side object detection left or side object detection right, following the on-screen instructions. That's what they call it, side obstacle detection. So you only need to do the PMI if you're replacing it. If you're just removing and installing, doesn't have to. Then as far as the 360 camera, so we have cameras in all four planes of the vehicle, I guess. So we got one in the nose, one in the tailgate, and one under each mirror. And that allows you to see that 360 around you. So that, as we saw earlier, is an image processing module B. So the procedures for calibrating a 360-degree view camera system with trailer mats. That's the mats. The vehicle will need to be driven for approximately 5 to 10 minutes or possibly longer depending on environmental conditions. If the image processing module A was replaced, perform the PMI. If front of rear camera was replaced, perform LIN module initialization. Perform the IPMA self-test and adjust the codes. Battery voltage must be between 11.8 and 15 volts. Position the target mats. Refer to the workshop manual for details. We'll see that in a minute. Lay out the 2 target mats alongside the vehicle, oriented in the proper direction. Verify the vehicle is centered between the target mats by measuring the distance from the vehicle center to the edge of the white checkered square on each mat. Align target mats to the center of the front wheels. And verify target mats are parallel to each other by measuring the distance between the mats. And then we would hit continue and we would go in. So here's the mats. Here's what it looks like. And here's how far apart they have to be. And then there's just another angle of them rolling out those mats. Now, if the Snap-on TruePoint system also has these corners that are there, and they work with the camera on the aiming system, so you know exactly where to place it. So just you put it in the right spot. So that's just one thing available for that. All right. And then we have Park Assist, which is going to be the 4 in the rear there. So the 4 in the rear for the rear bumper, and then of course it plays through the speakers. So that's why we got speakers there. And then optionally, if the vehicle is equipped with active Park Assist, it's going to have 2 more ultrasonic sensors, kind of looks like the bottom of the wheel wells, basically, in the front. So 2 more sensors and then a module for that and a switch to turn it on. And I got this from Ford directly. What it does is it takes the guesswork out of parallel parking, basically. So you drive along, you turn on your turn signal. Well, you press the button to turn it on, and then you turn on the turn signal. And then when it sees a spot, it measures with the ultrasonic sensor to see whether or not you'll fit. And if you will fit, it'll say, okay, we found a spot, drive forward. And it'll know when you're driving forward. And then you take your hands off the wheel and shift into reverse. So you do the shifting, you do the gas and brake, but the car does all the steering for you. So it takes the guesswork out of that parallel parking situation. So that is optional, like I said. And it does work using the ultrasonic sensors, which is different than how some other manufacturers do it. Some other manufacturers use the camera to do it. So just kind of do it in a different way. All right, next example vehicle is our 2017 Escape. And you're going to notice a theme here running across all the cars we're going to talk about today is they're going to use basically the same type of systems. And it's essentially the same procedure to calibrate said systems. So on this 2017 Escape, it has 3 radars. It has one for adaptive cruise control in the front, 2 in the rear for the blind spot monitor and the rear cross traffic alert. Camera is going to give us front view and 360 view. So that's the high mount camera and the 4 around the outside. And then it has 8 ultrasonic sensors in here. So it has 4 in the front. Actually, it was 10. I miscounted. I noticed this in the early iteration of this class. So it's actually 10. And we'll count them in a minute. But they use that for park assist and optionally advanced park assist if that vehicle is equipped. So the front radar is going to be kind of front and center on the bumper there, bottom grille. It's going to be the same procedure to calibrate it, just like we did on the pickup truck. So once again, a separated cruise control module there. Cruise control module calibration. Perform this service function when the ACCM module has been replaced or a service alignment procedure is required. Drive the vehicle on a straight road over 30 miles an hour, 50 kilometers an hour, until the instrument cluster's adaptive cruise control message is cleared. Calibration procedure will take 5 to 15 minutes typically. Do you wish to continue? Yes. And then drive the vehicle on a straight road until the adaptive cruise control message is cleared. Drive the vehicle until front sensor not aligned message is no longer present, then select continue. So you leave it on the screen, drive the vehicle. Once it goes out in the dash, you hit continue, and that completes the procedure. Rear radar is going to be the same type of thing as with the F-150. We don't need to do anything to it per se. It's just kind of mounts where it mounts, and they don't really need to do anything else to calibrate it. It just turns on and does what it needs to do, I guess. So same type of situation. Front camera, high mount camera is going to be up there, and that's going to be our image processing module A again, right? So lane assist, we see we have a fewer options here. So module A only on this one. Lane departure warning system camera alignment. So it's going to give us the same information that we had in the F-150. Same exact information because it's the same system. It's the same way to calibrate it. And then as far as park assist, it's going to have all the way around. It's going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4 in the front. So 6 in the back, 4 in the front. That gives us 10 all the way around there. And then if it does have the optional assist, it has 2 extra ones on the corners in front of the wheel wells there. Then we have our 18 Focus. That's going to have 3 radars. 1 for the front for the adaptive cruise control, 2 in the rear for the blind spot monitor and rear cross traffic alert. It's going to have 2 cameras. It's going to have the front view high mount camera and the backup camera. This one does not have 360 as an option. And this one also has 10 ultrasonic sensors, park assist and advanced park assist if optioned. So front camera, same deal. Image processing module A. You go in there. Carry out this procedure if any of the following service procedures have been performed. The rear view mirror has been removed or replaced, or the windshield has been removed or replaced. Battery voltage needs to be between 12 and 15 volts. On-demand self-test not executed. PMI needs to be done if the module is replaced. So basically, if you replace the camera, you have to do that PMI option. And it says in this one, this procedure requires 2 people to start. So they want somebody sitting in the passenger seat to have the scan tool going. Procedure will require the vehicle to be driven for approximately 10 minutes to align the camera. Before continuing, please start driving the vehicle in a steady manner over 40 miles an hour, avoiding lane crossing, excessive steering angle changes, or sudden changes in speed. The procedure has started and the vehicle is in lane departure alignment mode. Do not turn the ignition key off. And then it'll tell you how to confirm it. Once it's done, hit continue, and it's done. Just like in the F-150. Just like on the Escape. This one has a rear camera, and rear cameras don't really need calibration. So that's a easy one there. And then the rear radar, same deal. Nothing really needs to be done. You just bolt it on and go. So no special targets, no special procedures needed for that. And then for park assist, front and rear park assist is going to give you 8. 4 in the front, 4 in the rear. And then, of course, if it has the active park assist, it has 2 more on the corners, just right in front of the tires there, if it has that active park assist function. So let's go live and look at a few things on the tool, in service information, etc. Pull up my F-150 first. That's the most complex out of all of these. Okay, so we see down here. Actually, before I go down there, on tools that have the service resets and relearns menu, makes it a little easier to find depending on what it is. So if you were to come down here to driver aids and ADAS, it's going to give you a bunch of different jobs that you might need to do. So replace or calibrate the front radar. So we'll go into functional resets, pull up my module, and there's the cruise control radar alignment right there. 5 to 15 minutes. Okay. Behind security. Remember, do not at any time during the drive cycle place the scan tool in the deployment path of any airbag. It's going to make me wait for 10 seconds. I believe I might get an error because I'm in simulator mode. Oh, procedure's been successful. There we go. Good. Now, if we were to flip over to repair information and take a look at what it wants us to do, I guess I got to log out a couple times. So the radar unit, remove and replace. So there's where the radar unit is right there. It's in the front. Got a couple clips. Or you got to pop a couple clips off in order to get to this. And it's behind that panel. 3 bolts. Then there's my combination square level on that, and use the torque socket to adjust. And then it says follow the Diagnostics scan tool on-screen instructions to carry out the CCM calibration procedure, which we just did. So the vertical alignment is manual, and the horizontal alignment is done with the calibration software. All right, we can also go in manually. So if I wanted to do the image processing module A, go into special functions, and then we see the lane departure warning system camera alignment. You need to drive the vehicle to dynamic alignment. Going to tell you how to confirm, and then when it's done, it's done. Make sure you check for codes, and you're good. Now, Pro Trailer Backup Assist. I haven't looked at this one yet. So let's see. Got to do PMI. Same basic premise. Verify the rear video camera lens is clean. Verify all doors, deck lid, and tailgate are closed. Verify suspension is normal driving mode. Verify no trailer is attached or other rear camera obstruction. Make sure the light is bright and good visibility. Place the vehicle in drive and remain stopped. Then activate the rear video camera view on the touchscreen display. So you tap that with this screen on. And then it'll put it in a calibration state. Status screen should be viewable on the vehicle touchscreen display. Calibration state will automatically exit after approximately 10 minutes if calibration is not completed within the expected time. Then drive the vehicle. And I think that's as far as it's going to let me go. There we go. And then there's that PMI we talked about before too. Here we copy the data off the old module and put it in the. And then as far as our obstacle detection, go in there. And like we said, we don't have any other sort of calibration that needs to be done for that radar. It's just plug it in and go. So you would just do that PMI function. Let's just look in here real quick. There's another thing that we could do if you have Schottky or Mitchell, is there is a driver assist ADAS function in here, which gives us a table of all the components that are ADAS related, any jobs on that possibly require a calibration, if I need special tools, and if I need a scan tool. So in the case of the blind spot sensor, we know we don't need anything, but the outside view camera we do. Okay, and then we'll just go to remove and replace. And then we can do the camera alignment. There's my 2 tubes with the rolls of vinyl in there. Put them this far away. There's your rolls of vinyl. Line them up. Once that's done, using a diagnostic scan tool, perform the 360-degree camera alignment procedure following the on-screen instructions. Camera alignment success is indicated by the diagnostic scan tool. If the camera alignment is successful, inspect the 360 overhead image for proper alignment. If it's unsuccessful, it is going to tell you, and it's going to give you one of these faults. Any of these faults, just follow the trouble tree, what it happens to be, and you just go from there. So that, you need special targets. But looks like the rest of the stuff, pretty much you don't. So that's helpful. It seems like a pretty low barrier to entry on that, too. So I don't need to buy really anything special other than having a scan tool with the right software on it. Same deal here. So I can go into the obstacle detection module, and that's going to give us a couple output controls for that. So it's going to be, let's see what it's going to tell me. It's just going to turn it on or off. And then gives us data as such. In this case, it does not have an image processing module B because it doesn't have a 360 camera. And then we come down here to the cruise control module. Remember how we said that's separate? That's engine-related systems. Go to cruise control. And then the calibration is going to be the same thing we did on the F-150. Same premise in here. If we go into the ADAS menu, we can see park assist sensors, right? What do I need to do? For active park assist, installs or reverse removal. After the sensor is installed, use a scan tool to verify the sensor PIDs are responding correctly. So really, you're just checking data to make sure that it can see it. And if you really want to, you can do this azimuth tests, but it's not necessary. Just for replacing it. All good information. And then lastly, we'll go with the focus. We need to focus. So parking aid module on that one. It's going to be a new module initialization. If I had to replace the module, that's about the only thing we need to do there. It's going to have the same, like I said, don't even have functional tests on this one because I don't need it. There is no calibration function. There's no PMI function for it. It's just, you plug it in and go. And then this one did not have cruise control, so it doesn't have a separate adaptive cruise control setting. So we're getting fewer and fewer things on the vehicles. That's fine. Again. And if we go in here, you can see that it is a much shorter list too. I can barely even scroll down there. So, blind spot sensor. Talked about that. There it is. Remove it and install it. No calibration necessary. No PMI necessary. That's it. Just to install, reverse the removal procedure. Right? Makes it pretty easy. So we started off with Ford on a fairly simple note. It's not terribly complex. Not too many gotchas in there other than the radar being built into the taillight. So if you have a smashed taillight, you might end up with a smashed radar module, but it's easy enough to do. We don't need to recalibrate anything to do that. So that's helpful. Really, it's just the 360 cameras with those big maps. That's seems to be the only real targeting type system that you might need in that case. So, if you were just stepping into ADAS and you work on Fords, I think you could feel pretty, a little bit more confident with that because you don't really need to do anything other than with that 360 camera. Everything else you can do either driving the vehicle with the scan tool in conjunction. The scan tool, of course, has to put it in the learn mode, but once it's there, the vehicle pretty much does it itself after you put it in that learn mode, right? So, yeah, pretty solid. Hope you learned a few things. That is Ford. And with that, that's our time here today. So make sure you tune in for new diagnostic content every week. We'll be premiering a new video every Wednesday at 7 p.m. UK time, so make sure to check it out here on our YouTube channel. Please make sure you also subscribe, thumbs up, and ring that little notification bell so you'll know anytime we post new content. With that, time for questions. Now, if you have any questions, once again, if you're watching this on the premiere, just leave it in the live chat and we'll do our best to answer those. Otherwise, leave a comment under the video and we'll get to those as we monitor those comments as well. So I'd like to thank you for taking a little bit of time out of your day to learning a little bit more about how you might be able to be more efficient at diagnosing vehicles using some of the information that we've been giving you today. Hopefully we'll see you next week, and we'll see you on any of our other videos. Have a good week, have a good night, and take care.